Hey guys, it's Ness. I didn't intend to film this video today. I've just done like the quickest makeup job that I've ever done and it's still, not great. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll have seen that I'm going through some stuff right now. I'm just generally not in a happy place and I wanted to take some time away because the internet can sometimes contribute to poor or negative mental health states. But I feel like this part of the internet that I have for me, talking about books and talking to people in the comments, I feel like that is a positive place. So I wanted to sit down and talk about books because it's making me feel better. It's giving me something to focus on. And I feel like once I've done it, I'll be happier in myself. So we'll see, but this is literally an unplanned video. I just thought I would do something chatty that takes very little editing. I'm sorry if there's a lot of pauses or if this is just generally bad content. I'm sorry, but I just thought I wanted to talk about some of the books that I'm planning on getting rid of. And the thing that sparked this is a couple of weeks ago I uploaded a haul video of secondhand books. And I've lost one of them books already. Ironically, it's The Deathless Girls that's gone missing. All I can think of is I took my thumbnail picture and I had all the books in my arms, but I actually dropped them trying to put them back down on the desk here. And it must have just fallen into the vortex. It is absolutely gone. I've spent all day, it is now 6:30 at night, trying to find this book, and honestly, it is just gone. I can't find it. So I've come to the conclusion that I must just own too many books if I'm losing things. So I thought I would do a Chatty Unhaul. I'll either be giving these books to the charity shop, giving some to family, giving some to friends, or if they're in very good quality, don't exchanging them at Barter Books in Alnwick. I've spoke about that shop a lot. It's just a book shop, it's a second-hand book shop, one of the largest in the UK, and you take your used books in and they'll give you store credit to be used in the store, and that's mainly how I actually acquire a lot of these books. I'll buy books second-hand in charity shops and I'll get them credited in Barter Books as well. I very rarely buy books new. So yeah, I just thought I'm just going to sit down and chat. After a day of sitting on your own working, this feels kind of social even though there's nobody that I'm actually talking to. It feels like I am talking to someone. I guess I'm talking to you if you're watching it. So I think I need this. So I'm just going to start with some of the ones that I've already pulled out and that I've decided I'm going to get rid of. After that, I'm actually just going to talk to you about the books that I have left on my shelves. And together we're going to work through the ones that I want to get rid of. So, the first bag of books. This is a book that I finished yesterday. It only took me 2 days to read. And it was in my haul video that was up 2 weeks ago. But I read it already because it's just so quick. I finished reading the Percy Jackson series and I felt like any book that I started I wasn't really going to enjoy. I just needed a filler book. So I picked this one up. This is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. It's a thriller, kind of like Inception-y. Inception, I really loved that movie, so I thought that I'd really like this book, but I just thought it was okay. I gave it a 3 stars. I don't want to keep it because I'm never going to reread it. I don't think anyone in my family would actually enjoy this. I don't think any of my friends would, and the friend that reads already has this. So I'm probably going to give this to the charity shop. But basically it's about a man who gets kidnapped and wakes up in a different version of himself. His wife isn't his wife anymore and his son's never been born and he's trying to get back to his world. And it opens up talking about alternate universes and having multiple versions of you making different decisions in life. It was just okay. I mean, it's highly regarded on Goodreads, so maybe I'm just the exception. The next one was also in that whole video, but someone in the comments kindly pointed out that this book is probably not for me, and that is Blood Orange, which is a crime novel that's really popular recently. I did get this on a 3 for £5 offer, so I'm not bothered that I'm getting rid of this without reading it. But if you go into the comments of that video, there is a comment, someone telling me trigger warning for, I'm not going to say what it's for because I don't want that in this video, but I can't read a book that has that content. I wish that books would like maybe say on the back here like trigger warnings, because if I actually read that in a book, it makes me really upset. So I can't read that because of the content of the novel. So that one is going. I don't know what to do with that one, because I don't want to put it in a charity shop, because I don't want someone to pick it up not knowing about that. I'm really undecided. The next one I'm getting rid of, I've had this book for quite a while, so it's quite dusty, is another crime. It's The Suspect. I read this a couple of months ago. It was in one of my wrap-ups. It is sort of like a new adult crime novel, which I really appreciated. It's about these girls that go backpacking in Thailand, and their parents are living in the UK, and there's a detective and a journalist in the UK, and the girls unfortunately get killed in Thailand, and the journalist and the police are trying to work out who did it, but the journalist thinks that she might actually know the suspect. But it was just, again, it was just okay. Hard crime for me is very hard to come by. I just knew who was going to be the person that did it, and I feel like if you're like a quarter of the way through a crime and you think you know who's done it, it just feels like there's no point in still reading it. So for that reason I didn't like it. I'm also getting rid of War and Peace, which I read a couple of months ago as well. I never want to reread this book. This book felt like such a slog. It felt like hard work. I mean, 1,300, nearly 400 pages of this was hard. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody unless someone's doing this for school or for university. It was hard to get through, and I never ever want to look at this book again. It was just, again, it was just okay. I mean, for its time it would have been an absolute masterpiece. It would have been revolutionary, but I don't need that in my life anymore. I've done it, I've conquered it. I feel like that is that. I'm also maybe slightly controversially getting rid of all 3 parts of the Lord of the Rings books. The reason I'm getting rid of these is because I already own these as a bind up, which is here. It's a 1980s copy, which is my grandma's. It's like faded, the spine is faded, but I love having them actually as one book. It makes it seem like there's less actually. I expected that there would be more to it than just having it like this in my hand. The fact that this turns into this, I don't really know how that works because the words are really small. I did contemplate keeping them in these small books purely for the purpose that these would be portable and I wouldn't worry about these getting damaged, but these just take up too much shelf space. I could have so many more books on the space that this takes up, so I am getting rid of these. Next, I'm getting rid of Shantaram. I did read this a couple of months ago. It is pretty much an epic novel. It's over 1,000 pages, and it's a semi-autobiographical tale of an Australian who breaks out of prison and ends up in Mumbai and makes a name for himself in the Mumbai crime world. And I love the description of Mumbai and I love the setting. I just wasn't interested in the character at all. The one character that I was interested in ended up getting killed off, and at that point I just felt like, well, he was the only one I cared about, so why am I continuing? But I did appreciate what this novel was. It was so much, it felt like you were reading about someone's entire life, like a real person's life, which the author has based the story off his own experience, but I've read it and I won't be rereading it, so I'm getting rid of it. And I'm also getting rid of the sequel. I didn't realise it had a sequel until I saw this in the shop. I did get this in a charity shop for 25p, which honestly was a bargain at the time. So it's never even been read. It's like a brand new book for 25p. I don't know why charity shops actually like price them like that. They must just have had a massive stock. And I didn't realise until I picked this out and I actually saw the sticker with the Shantaram cover on. This does come off. I didn't realise that there was a sequel. So it does follow the character that's in Shantaram. It is the main character and it does continue on with his story, but I'm just not interested enough to go back and read nearly 900 pages of that world again. So I will be donating that back to the charity shop. Next is Vox, which is another second-hand book that I picked up, which I read a few months ago. This is a dystopian novel set in a world in the future where women can only speak 100 words a day. This is a device that man has made and decided that women should just be seen and not heard. Women no longer work, they are confined to being housewives, and the main character is a doctor and she's a specialist and she's needed to help treat the president, and they've told her that they'll give her like 2 weeks of freedom to speak what she needs to say if she can cure the president. So that is the premise of the book. It was okay, I didn't really enjoy it, and the main character annoyed me so much. So that is again another book which can go. You wouldn't actually think I've read this book because it is in perfect condition. I didn't break the spine or bend any of the pages or anything. It's absolutely brand new, and that's Fans of the Impossible Life. I picked this up in a second-hand shop because I hadn't read a lot of young adult contemporaries and I was very interested in the blurb on the back. It's about 3 characters who are teenagers in the UK and they go to this special school, and they all have problems which are real world problems. One of them is in foster care and he's gay. The girl has very severe depression that's absolutely crippling her ability to go about her life, and there's a boy who is just really painfully shy, and his shyness really has an impact on his ability to also maintain a normal lifestyle, and they become unlikely friends and they are just trying to survive school, and it goes into all of their personal problems and how they attempt to overcome them together. It was an interesting read. I would recommend it because it is different for a YA, because I find that YA is a lot of the times like glossed over and life is just made to seem really perfect when it's not. So if you want to read something a bit different in YA that addresses some of them issues, I would recommend this one, but I'm not going to reread it, so I'm going to get rid of it. Next is The Revenant. I have no idea how I actually came about this, but I have watched the movie multiple times with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy, and I feel like because I've seen that, I'm not really interested in reading the book, because I love the film so much but I don't really necessarily want to read it in book form. I feel like the movie was just a really good adaptation. It was really entertaining. I love the scenery, I love the acting, I love the pacing of it. So yeah, I just don't feel the need to read this actually. Next, I'm getting rid of The Discovery of France, which is a non-fiction history book about France. I was very in 2 minds about whether I wanted to get rid of this because I did start reading it but I didn't read much of it, and I do want to know more about French history, but I feel like maybe this isn't the book to do it with because it doesn't focus on the areas that I want to know about. And I think the easiest and quickest way of maybe digesting some information about the history of France is to watch some documentaries or listen to a podcast. It would take a lot longer to sit down and read it in a book format, and it's maybe not the most enjoyable way of getting that information. So it's in brand new condition. It's in really, really good condition. I mean, hopefully someone will find this educational, but I think I'm just going to stick to some documentaries to learn a bit more about France. Next, I have another YA book which I did actually talk about in my best books of 2020 so far. That's One of Us is Lying. I did toy with keeping this, but I'm probably not going to reread it, and I definitely don't want to get around to the sequel. I feel like this one would have been perfect as a standalone, and it is a young adult crime, which is a genre that I've never read before, but I'm really pleased that I did and I really enjoyed it. I'd love to read more by them actually. 5 school students go into detention. Honestly, that neighbour is staring at me again. You know, the one where I mentioned like months ago where she'll go to her front door and watch me. Now she's watching me from the window just with a cup of tea, which is like really, really frustrating. It's just not what I need right now. I forgot where I was. So 5 school students go into detention and only 4 come out alive. One of them sadly does die in the detention, and the police suspect that it must have been one of the other students that caused his death, and an investigation is opened into the other 4 students. The other 4 students couldn't be as different as what they are. One is a very popular cheerleader girl, another is a boy jock, There's another boy who is a criminal that's not very respected, and the other girl is a straight A student that stays out of trouble. And they all have secrets that all start to come to the surface. It's really, really good. They are really all lying in some sense about who they are as people, and you just have to find out who did it by reading it. I did enjoy it, I just wouldn't read it again. This book is the first and only Neil Gaiman that I've actually read, and that's The Ocean at the End of the Lane. I'm not going to say too much about this, but basically I didn't enjoy it. I read it in a day. It is quite short. It's just not my thing, really. I guess I read it to see whether I would like that genre, the sort of creepy, magical vibe, but I didn't like it. I didn't really like Coraline as a movie either. That just didn't sit with me well. So I don't know why I picked this up, but I just think that this isn't for me. But if you liked Coraline, you might like this. It gives you the same sort of vibe. But yeah, that's not for me. Another one is Umami. This is I would say this is a new adult, even though it was in the YA section of the bookshop. I read the first chapter of this and I really, really didn't like it. I'm not really sure where it thought that the book was going to go. It just says on the back that it's set in Mexico City. It's about a girl trying to come to terms with the death of her sister. Even though from what I read, the main character that's on the back hadn't actually been introduced yet. She plants a garden in the shared courtyard and she digs the ground to plant her seeds. Her neighbours in turn delve into their pasts. As the ripple effects of grief, childlessness and abandonment saturate their stories, secrets seep out and questions emerge, and it becomes clear that Anna is not alone in having her life turned upside down by the loss of a loved one. Yeah, that just, I don't know. I don't know why I picked this up, but it was secondhand. And I just wanted to read something set in Mexico, but maybe this isn't the one for me. I just don't really want to read sad stories necessarily. And the last one I already have picked out to go is The Last by Hannah Jameson. This is an apocalyptic book where the main character is staying in a hotel in Switzerland. He is an American and he's away on a work trip. And when he's staying in this hotel for the work trip, the world ends. There's like a nuclear war that happens and the whole world is affected by this, which really to me made no sense why Switzerland of all countries would be affected in nuclear war, but never mind, because nothing actually, nothing happens there apart from they all just decide that everything's gonna instantly collapse, that society is gonna collapse instantly. It just makes no sense really, but never mind. There's no electric, there's no running water, and you, which is that character, and 19 other survivors, and something happens with the water towers on the top of the hotel, and you and 2 other staff members go to try and find out what's happened to the water tower, and you find that a young girl has been murdered, and the main character is convinced that this has happened after the fallout of society, so that the suspect must be still in the hotel, and he's trying to find out who's obviously murdered this girl and also, you know, survive the apocalypse, which sounded like the best premise, but I just really didn't enjoy the execution. So I was pleased to be finished with this. This was another one which was just okay. I'm not going to reread it, so I will be getting rid of it. Okay, so now we're going to just sort of unhaul together, so I'm going to move out the way. I don't really know the best format of doing this. So this is like the bottom of my bookshelves. I have like this section over here, as well as these ones. Obviously my bookshelves are colour coordinated, so what you're seeing at the moment is the bit that you don't really see on camera, and that is I've got like a blacky gold area down here. This is mainly just black with bits of colour, coming up into blues and greens over there, and then we'll look at the top shelves later on. I don't really know where to start, and basically what I want you to do is, if you just see something that you've read and you thought was really lackluster, if you can actually see the books from here of course, just put it in the comments. Just let me know what you think I should be getting rid of. I might just pick up some books, read maybe the first chapter or something, or read the blurb again, some books that I've had for a while, decide if I want to get rid of it or not, and then you can just let me know in the comments, like maybe you should reconsider keeping that book, or maybe you should get rid of it. But I'm just going to have a look. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move you a bit closer. We'll start with these books on the shelf here, I think maybe. We'll start with these two. So I do need more space here. I'm thinking of just getting rid of all my historical fantasy books because, sorry, all my historical fiction books, because that's really not a genre that I'm interested in anymore. It was before I went to history and did my history degree, but my history degree totally ruined everything like that I liked about history. So I'm thinking of just getting rid of them. So I do have one here, which is Alice in Weird Dangerous Inheritance. But it does seem to be focusing mainly on the Princes in the Tower, which is something that has interested me a lot from a historical perspective because, you know, I love crime, I love a mystery, and it's one of the very few solid mysteries in British royalty history. So I think I'm going to keep this purely for that. So it's the time of Queen Elizabeth I. She's the cousin of Queen Elizabeth I, and she's discovering papers belonging to Kate Plantagenet, who's the daughter of Richard III, who's looking into what happened to the princes in the Tower. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. It seems a little bit more different to the other historical fiction books that I've read, because we know there's so many about the Tudors and it's just too much sometimes. It's really overbearing. I'm keeping the Stand. I've read that. I've read that. I don't think there's anything else. Maybe Voyage by Stephen Baxter. This was, yeah, it was a second-hand one. What if JFK survived? President Nixon, with the help of former President JFK, has greenlit NASA's first manned expedition to Mars. Aboard, Natalie York, a geologist who risked everything she loved for the chance to go to space. Exploring mankind's presence in an extraterrestrial expanse. So basically this is a book that's thinking about what it would be like if humans actually done a manned mission to Mars. I think I will keep this. It seems quite long though. I don't know if I'll ever get around to reading it though, that is the problem. But I am very much interested in space and all of the space programs, and the fact that it seems like a more realistic take on what would happen in space. I think I'll keep it for now. I'm not sure though about the Proxima series, which I can't remember what this is. I think Ultima is here. Are these a duology? What are these? Honestly, I have no idea how many books are in this series. All I'm going to ask is, I have The Long Earth as well. The Long Earth series, which is by Stephen Baxter and Terry Pratchett, which is up here. If you're into sci-fi, can you please just tell me which of these series is better, because I'm probably not going to keep both. I'm probably going to keep one and get rid of the other completely, because I feel like this is too much space really by Stephen Baxter, because then I've got Voyage as well. So maybe I just need to get rid of some. So if you've read any of them, just give me some feedback please on which ones I should prioritise, because I really just don't want to keep them all at this point. I'm keeping these, keeping Long Way, yeah, love that, gonna keep that, gonna keep that. The only one on the shelf that I'm really questioning is this one by Sarah Perry. I've not read anything by her, but she is also the author of The Essex Servant, which is another book that I'm unsure about keeping. Again, I got these both secondhand, and honestly I picked them up because I just thought that they were absolutely beautiful covers. I think having them straight on, it's too shiny for the camera. So I'm just gonna... This says it was the Observer Best Fiction Book of the Year 2018. One winter night in Prague, Helen Franklin meets her friend Carol on the street. Agitated and enthralled, he tells her he has come into possession of a mysterious old transcript filled with personal testimonies that take them from 17th century England to wartime Czechoslovakia, tropical streets of Manila and 1920s Turkey. All of them tell of being followed by a tall silent woman in black bearing an unforgettable message. Helen reads its content with intrigue, but everything in her life is about to change. See, this strikes me as quite interesting, as long as this is like... Oh, it's actually quite short. Okay, I'm going to keep this because it seems like you could read this maybe in like a day or two. So I'm going to give this a read, but I'm hoping that this is a scary story because it sounds like a great premise for a horror. But I have a feeling it's not going to be that. But now that I've actually seen how short it is, I feel like I'm just going to keep this, read it, and then get rid of it. So, what to do about The Essex Servant? This was a very popular book a couple of years ago when it came out. Everyone was recommending it. What is it about? It's basically about a woman's husband who dies, and then it's something to do with a creature of folklore, and she thinks that it might be real. If this is just basically like an adult romance, I can't be bothered with it, so can someone just let me know in the comments if you've read this, what exactly this is about, because if this is a romance book, I'm just going to get rid of it because I can't really be bothered with it. But I think this is such a beautiful, beautiful cover. Kind of reminds me of like Grandma's Curtains, which, you know, is a thing that I really like about books. So we're just going to put that back. Unfortunately, we're not off to a good start, because a lot of these I actually do want to read. I thought I'd have got rid of a book by now. So we're going to sort of like move over to... Oh, hello, to over here. Where to start? So we have the C.J. Sansom series, which I want to read. I think Winter in Madrid is probably a book that can go. So this is by C.J. Sansom. The only book I've read by him is Dominion, but I really didn't like Dominion. But I feel like I might like the Shardlake series, which is like a Tudor crime novel. We've just been told about Tudor crime. I might... Why is everything so duplicated in books, I swear? But I am going to definitely keep these because I do want to read them. But Winter in Madrid, I'm unsure of, because people told me, even if you don't like Dominion, in my camera over here, it's so rude. Even if you don't like Dominion, you should still read Winter in Madrid. So, it's set after the Spanish Civil War. The main character is a traumatized veteran of Dunkirk, turned reluctant spy for the British Secret Service. He's been sent to Madrid. It's a moving love story. Also evokes a remarkable sense of history unfolding and reveals the profound impact of impossible choices. I can't be bothered to read another historical romance fiction war thing, so I'm definitely going to get rid of this. And in its place now, Anna K can actually fit in here, so that's great. Like I said, if you think I should reconsider, let me know, but I'm now happy that I can have room here because these are new and there's no room for... I found it! I can't believe I've been looking for this all day and I found it. I honestly thought this book was cursed. I still believed it could be cursed because I can't remember putting it there, but it was obviously just at the bottom of the pile underneath this hardback here. I'm so dumb. Honestly, I don't know how I get on with life. Never mind, moving on. So obviously I want room to put these. I don't like having books like stacked on top of books. So hopefully we can get rid of some more. Right, this is where I'm thinking I might be able to make the most space. As you can see, I've got a lot of historical fiction here and I've got a lot of classics here. I need to be realistic about whether I'm going to actually get round to these classics or not. Let's just bring you down. Sorry, it's so jittery. You can't even see. Oh well. So we'll start off with The Shining by Stephen King. I've never read this, but I would like to think that someday I'd read this maybe. So we're just going to put that down there. The Magician's Guild, I've heard really good things about this, and it is a fantasy novel by a woman. I don't really understand what it's about. I might get rid of this. If you've read this, give me some information about whether I should keep this or not. I'll purely go off the comments about if I keep this, because I just don't know if I can be bothered. Okay, so I've got Jane Eyre. I've read that, but I loved it and I'm going to keep it. I want to read Anna Karenina. I want to read Wuthering Heights purely because the Kate Bush song, and I love Kate Bush. Kate Bush is bae. Pride and Prejudice, I guess that's kind of like a staple that you have to read. Far from the Maddening Crowd, Thomas Hardy. Oh, okay, I love this haunting image. I'm going to keep that purely for the cover alone. I Hate to Be Thought Men's Property in That Way. Oh, okay, we're keeping that. That's not what I thought that it was going to be about, but, you know, strong independent lady from the classics we love. War of the Worlds. I love the history of this novel. I love that people thought that this was real and that this was an event that was happening when it was spoken of on the radio. But I really, really didn't like the movies, so I feel like I might just read this. It's quite short, just to see what it's like, and then get rid of it because it's only like 150 pages. Probably going to keep that, but also by the same authors, Shape of Things to Come. When Dr. Raven, an intellectual working for the League of Nations, dies in 1930, oh, that is an organisation we've not heard of for a long time, is the League of Nations. I bet Gen Z don't know what that is. Dies in 1930, he leaves behind a powerful legacy, an unpublished dream book. Inspired by visions he had experienced many years, it appears to be a book written far in into the future, a history of humanity from the date of his death up to 2105. The Shape of Things to Come provides this history of the future, an account that was in some way remarkably prescient. I don't know what that word means. Predicting climate disaster and sweeping cultural changes, including the Second World War, the rise of chemical warfare and political instability in the Middle East. I mean, anybody could have seen that coming, really. You don't need to be psychic. Foretelling an era of war, plague and political chaos, this remains one of the greatest of all works of social prophecy. I just want to say on the comment that I just made about instability in the Middle East, that's not a reflection or commentary on the people of the Middle East. That's a reflection and commentary on colonialism that goes into an area and says, I'm going to get a map and I'm going to draw squares like this. That's that country and that's that country. You people are now part of this country. Can anyone see how that might cause instability? Anyway, moving along from the Middle East. This sounds interesting. I don't know if I'll ever give it a try, but I feel like from the perspective that I did history and politics at university, I might be interested in that at some point, maybe in my 30s. I don't know, I might turn into an intellectual suddenly. So moving on to the Portrait of Dorian Gray. This was highly recommended, so I tried to read it and got bored of it and put it down, but I'm going to keep it because everyone says it's really good. House of the Dead, I want to keep that. East of Eden, I love John Steinbeck, so that's staying. Test the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. Again, this creeps me out. Based on the first edition that shocked readers when published in 1891, what could this possibly have shocked people about? Is there talk of ankles being on shore? Basically, yeah, I'm going to keep this if the comments tell me to. If the comments tell me to get rid of it, I'm going to get rid of it because at this point I don't really care. So let me know on what you think in the comments. Obviously, I'm going to keep Dracula. Right, okay, Charles Dickens. I've not read any Charles Dickens. I don't know if I want to read any Charles Dickens. It just seems like a bit of a chore. I also have Little Dorrit by Charles Dickens. I'm going to get rid of one of them. So tell me if I should get rid of Bleak House or Little Dorrit. And however many has the most votes come the end of next week, I'm just going to get rid of that one. So let me know which one I should keep. I mean, this book is so old it can just go in the bin, really, can't it? Japanese novel, I'm going to keep. Okay, we're not doing very good. So I'm just going to move you up a little bit. Neil Gaiman, American Gods. I feel like I'm just keeping that for the sake of it being American Gods. The Berlin Inheritance. Philippa Gregory. Who is this about? Catherine Howard, Anne of Cleves. Yeah, I can't be bothered with this anymore. I've decided. Oh, nice picture of Anne of Cleves. We know what happened with that picture. That picture got her nearly killed. I'm going to get rid of that one. Right, what can we put there? This can now go in here. The White Princess. I actually want to keep the White Princess and the White Queen and also the Red Queen, wherever that may be. Oh, we missed this one. The Kingsmaker's Daughter. Who's this about? Daughters of the Earl of Warwick. Yeah, that can go. I can't be bothered with this one either. I don't know how I acquired this. It's brand new. I don't think I bought it outright. I love the cover though for a Philippa Gregory novel. Nice, that's nice going. Let's get rid of that one. And then in that space we can put The Deathless Girls. The King's Curse by Philippa Gregory. Who's this about? Margaret Pole is a rival claimant to the Tudor throne. Buried in marriage to a loyal Tudor supporter, she becomes guardian to Arthur, the young Prince of Wales, and his beautiful bride, Catherine of Aragon. So I think this is about Henry actually becoming king at the start of his life. I might keep that. I feel like I've cut down my historical fiction anyway, and that I'm doing well on that front. Okay, so this wasn't a shelf that we really looked at, but it's very clearly overrun and needs cutting down. The only book I've actually read is Aristotle and Dante and Percy Jackson. I did read The Assassin's Curse but didn't like it, and I don't know why I'm keeping it, but I never read the sequel, and it was a quick read, so I'm thinking about reading them again and then getting rid of them. And same with Siege and Storm, which is book 2 in the Grisha trilogy. I read the first one and didn't really enjoy it, and that was about 6 years ago, but I'm thinking about giving it a reread. Maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset at the time. Maybe I'll enjoy it a bit more now, so I'm thinking about getting around to them too soon and then getting rid of them. The only book that I'm actually considering getting rid of from this shelf, and it's going to be so controversial, I know it is The Kite Runner by Calatasini. This was the book that when I did my unread books video, everybody wanted me to read this book and review it. But I've had it for so long and I keep putting it off because I feel like it's sad, and I don't like reading sad books. I read for entertainment and enjoyment. I don't like to read sad things. That's just my personal preference in books. I know sad things happen in real life, which is why I like to read fantasy, because then we can avoid the sadness and I get to escape the world for a bit. So I'm thinking about getting rid of The Kite Runner, and I also have his other one, A Thousand Splendid Suns. I might just read one of them, but obviously I would need recommendations on which one do I want to read, The Kite Runner or A Thousand Splendid Suns, and which one should I maybe get rid of, because I don't want this many books. There's not much that I really want to get rid of from this shelf. I plan on reading The Man in the High Castle and then getting rid of it. The only one I'm questioning is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I did read this, but I didn't really like it. I just thought that it was okay, and I know I'm not going to continue with the series, but I don't know why, but I'm struggling so hard to actually part with it. Just in case someone that I know or a good friend might want it. So I don't know if I need to get out of that way of thinking maybe. And I also have a book of short stories here, which are magical tales from the masters of modern fantasy, which honestly has so many really good authors in it, but I don't know if I can be bothered with short stories when I have so much to read. So I'm also considering getting rid of that, but I've just never seen this book anywhere, and when I saw it in a second-hand shop I just thought it was really interesting, so I picked it up. But I might keep it for Halloween and read a couple of stories out of it for Halloween. Other than that, it's all books that I want to read. So I think this one here is book 2 in a series with this one, and what this series is, from what I understand of it, is it's historical fiction fantasy mixed with fantasy, so it pretends to be like a historical fiction novel, but it does have fantasy elements, and it's about a town that's set in the Tudor times that's magical and that nobody else knows exists, but it also sort of moves through its history of the town. I'd never heard of it until I saw it in a second-hand shop and just decided to pick it up on chance, but it is a book that since then I've been thinking I might just get rid of these because I don't know if I'm going to get around to reading them. So I would appreciate some thoughts about these. Otherwise, these are just 2 books that are just taking up room on my shelves. But I'm very close to getting rid of these. So if someone just says they're bad, they're gone. That is it. Start off at 10. That's a David Nichols book about a Kate Bush fan, which I'm just dying to read because Kate Bush. There's nothing else on here other than I'm thinking of getting rid of Alone in Berlin and All the Light We Cannot See. Again, sad books. I just don't know if I want to read that kind of thing right now or ever, which is putting me off a little bit. I've had them for about 6 years, and I feel like if I've had a book that long, I'm probably not going to read it ever. So, moving on to Hi Evie. Again with The Tattooist of Auschwitz, but I feel like I might just read this because it's quick, but I am putting this off because I don't want to be upset, as well as Schindler's Ark. I just don't know if that are things that I can cope with at all. There's nothing else on here really that I'm thinking of getting rid of. As we move up the shelves, surprisingly they get better with colour, so maybe I just need to be a bit wary of books with dark spines. Okay, so now we're at the top shelves and there's really not a lot of books that we haven't made that much progress really, have we? But there's not a lot here that I'm thinking of getting rid of. Obviously this is part of the Long Earth series, which I'm thinking about getting rid of on the basis of someone's recommendation for telling me what are the best Stephen Baxter books. But I really do love Terry Pratchett's writing. I don't actually know which one sat and wrote the books. I can't imagine they were able to sit and write them together necessarily. So I don't know what the writing's going to be like for them ones. Honor Among Thieves as well is a book by Rachel Kane. I got this for 25p in a charity shop, so I'm really not that bothered about giving this back to a charity shop. But Rachel Kane is the author of a series that I read as a teenager. Oh my god, what was it called? The Morganville Vampire series. I think she's the author of that. And I really loved it as a teenager, so I wanted to know maybe what her other novels were like. It seems like a really quick read. It is young adult. What is it about? Okay, I have no idea. I can't be bothered to sit and read that. But thinking about getting rid of that one. Obviously Shadow and Bone is a potential get rid of because I just don't know if I can be bothered with the series. That is book 2 to The Assassin's Curse, which I didn't like. That's The Pirate's Wish. But I really love the covers of these. I just wish I enjoyed them actually more. Bill Bryson, One Summer in America. In the summer of 1927, America had a booming stock market, a president who worked just 4 hours a day, a devastating flood in Mississippi, a sensational murder trial, and an unknown aviator named Charles Lindbergh, who became the most famous man on earth. I don't know whether I want to read this or not. Ew! There's blackface in here. I did a lot of 1920s America at school in sixth forms. I don't know if this would maybe take me back to learning. Yes, I'm actually going to get rid of this and this will free up space for the curator. So we'll put that in the bag and then we'll pick the curator up. And we'll move that into here. Okay, we're doing good. I don't know whether I want to get rid of this book about ancient Rome. I think I want to keep that just because she is a fantastic historian. And I trust that everything that she has is well researched. So I'm going to keep that, but I would really much appreciate if this was ancient Greece over ancient Rome. Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine. Again, I'm not really into adult contemporaries, so I don't know if I want to keep this. Again, 25p from a charity shop. I just thought I'd pick it up. I mean, for now it looks nice on my shelves because it's yellow. And I have heard good things about it. I'm just not that into adult contemporary. So, again, based on comments, I'll keep or get rid of that one. There's nothing else here. Little Dorrit we've already talked about by Charles Dickens is an uncertain one. For Whom the Bells Toll There by Ernest Hemingway, another one that I don't know if I want to keep or not, but I just love Ernest Hemingway as a person, so that's why I'm keeping that. Catch-22, I want to read that. That's a classic I actually want to read. I think that's it for this shelf, unfortunately, so I'm going to turn you around. The temptation to get rid of my Harry Potter books is unreal. I'm not going to lie, but I am going to keep them. I don't know why, but I am. We've already discussed that this one could be going. That's actually someone else's book which I've borrowed, which obviously I'll be returning to them, so that'll free up some space there. The rest of it is sci-fi, Japanese, fantasy, and Rick Riordan. Obviously I'm never getting rid of a Rick Riordan book ever. Love them. The only one really on this shelf that I'm uncertain of, because I like Patrick Ness and I've never read them and I want to read them. And I'm keeping Brandon Sanderson for now. I'm still not sure how I feel about Brandon Sanderson as an author because of the comments he's made in the past about the LGBT community, which I can't get over because they offended me so much. It's The Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Again, I'd like some comments about what people thought of this one because I just don't know if this is for me or not. It reminds me a little bit of The Historian, if anyone's ever read that, which was like a fake historical fiction book with magic in it. At least that's the impression that I get of this anyway. It's about witches, demons and vampires, a transcript which holds the secrets of their past and the key to their future. Diana and Matthew, the forbidden love at the heart of it all. Oh, I'm sick of romance, honest to God. I don't know why I get them. I'm going to keep that for now, but we'll see what people say in the comments. I might get rid of it. I feel like I should be getting rid of a lot more books than that. I mean, I guess I did get rid of some from that. That was some sort of... It was a little bit successful because I did what I wanted to do, which was get rid of books. But there wasn't as many as I thought there was going to be. Obviously, I've asked for a lot of recommendations and a lot of help with this, and it does require some input on your behalf because you are here to unhaul with me. So let me know what your opinions are in the comments. I think I've spoken enough. I need time to go and edit this. I'm just sorry that I'm not as happy as what I usually am, but I can't pretend to be happy all the time, if that makes sense. I am a human that is very much wearing their mental health on their sleeve. I can't hide when I'm going through a bad patch mentally, unfortunately. That's just the way I am, and I feel like being open about mental health is a lot better than keeping it in. I might put some more information in the comments. If there's a pinned comment, it'll probably tell you a little bit more about my circumstances. But I'm just upset with the way everything is at the moment. I do want to show you my t-shirt though, because I got this in Japan and honestly it is the cutest t-shirt ever. It's like instructions on how... Oh, why is this not staying? Oh, why is this not staying? Oh, there we go. It's like instructions on how to make like a fold up Pikachu. Isn't this just the cutest? This was like £8. I love it. So, you know, when I'm having a bad day, when I'm wearing like Pokemon stuff. So yeah, so that's it for me today. Thank you for coming on my unhaul with me journey. Let me know in the comments which books I should be getting rid of based on your recommendation. Just pretend as if you're here with me and we'll just talk about some of the books that I have. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I've gained a lot recently. I really do appreciate it. It's really supported me during this hard time of my life. That everybody's going through a hard time really, but I'm just really sorry for everybody that's suffering as well. I just don't think we should be doing it in silence. I don't know what video I'll have next because I don't know what is going to happen in the future with my mental state. But I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.